Previously on the Apocalypse Eternal Darkness livestream. It's always the last place you look.
We're kind of looking at. Anyway, that's my 10,000 foot explanation. I know I went on for a long time, but I hope that made sense.
Loved hearing it.
Jalen wants nothing to do with that.
Getting hypnotized by Jalen.
Yep, I'm trying to run through. Oh, please don't touch me. Please don't touch me. Oh, not the trapper.
This was just at the time when his horror thing with Kojima was canceled, so he was kind of bummed out.
Jalen died again.
Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting.
We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Apocalypse Studios live stream. My name is Jalen Pachenik, your community herald for Dead House Sonata. I'm joined, of course, always for our Eternal Darkness playthroughs by our CEO and founder, Dennis Dyack. How are you today, Dennis?
Hi, Jalen. I'm doing well, thanks. Hi, everybody.
Good. Hello to everybody in the chat. I see lots of you guys out there. We'd like to thank Faceless Mike, Their Food, Cutthroat Gaming for hosting us. And we'd like to thank Distortion Devil, not only for hosting, but for joining us on the stream. How are you today?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am doing fantastic. I am so excited to be here. This is very fun.
Good. Good. We're really excited, too. Been looking forward to this stream for a while now.
Yep, absolutely.
Myself included, absolutely.
Now, and before I jump into the game, I know I've already loaded the save file, but we're having a contest for this week's stream. All you have to do is type the word Risen, R-I-S-E-N, into the chat once. You only need to enter it once for your chance to win a free Risen Founders Pack. Like I said, you don't need to spam the chat. You enter it once, and your name will be entered. Entering it 5 times does not give you any additional chances to win. We'll be doing the draw at the end of the stream, but you can enter the word Risen at any time to be entered. So if you're looking to win a free Risen pack, all you have to do is type in the word Risen, and we'll announce the winner at the end of the stream. Now that bookkeeping is out of the way, we can get back to Eternal Darkness.
Awesome.
I'm trying to remember where we left off last time. I believe who's the architect who is taking a look at the ruins. I can't remember his name right now. But I have to go find the next chapter. That's the part.
Oh, the next chapter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll see if I can find that somewhere. I think there's dirt falling out of one room, similar to the places you could look at as the architect. So see if I can go find that. But in the meantime, Distortion Devil, on these streams we always have questions about Dead House Sonata for Dennis Dyack, and if you had any, this is now your time to ask.
Absolutely. I don't know if this has been asked before, but as a big fan of the Legacy of Kain series, I've always enjoyed the soundtracks for that. What is the music for Dead House Sonata going to be like, if that has been established at all?
Yeah. That's a great question. We will be going in a similar direction that we did with Legacy of Kain, where it's going to be very cinematic in nature, very dark and gothic, but at the same time we'll be using a lot of world music instruments is the best way to describe it. So there's going to be, as an example, there's some throat singing that's coming, and actually a feature we're about to drop that Steve has been working on. He's doing a great job. And the other thing that we're doing that we didn't do with Legacy of Kain back in the day was done like a traditional soundtrack and score like a film. And we are composing it that way, of course, but we're going to be doing dynamic music generation and procedural generation, where we will take many of the tracks, and how it's played back will be directly affected by the environment in the game, by what the player does, if they're into some of the deep social media integration that we're doing by some of the metagaming audience as well. So it's going to be adaptive in that sense. So it's going to have the same feel as Blood Omen, except it's going to have all of these sort of what I would call engaging features that's going to make it a unique experience, and hopefully very captivating for the users that will directly be the pacing and the provocative nature of the actual track itself will be directly affected by what the player does. So that's our goal with the audio on that.
I'm very excited.
Oh,
And
cool.
Sorry to butt in there.
Seems to be a lot of. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, Cotter. I just wanted to say thank you to Vartrix for following us and joining the ranks of the undead.
Hey, what's up?
And just to be clear, the person doing the music is Steve Kupani. He's been working with us now for over a year and a half, and he's done everything to date, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, so far.
Awesome.
From what I've heard from the music, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's save this before chat starts yelling at me to do it.
Yeah.
Never yelling. Friendly reminders, I should say.
The war to end all
Sure.
wars. We
Yelling is
defined
fine, too.
how mankind looked at war and the value
That's
of
sometimes the only way I listen, so I understand why.
93,000 men lost their lives.
Oh, one of my favorite chapters, and I believe the last chapter that you played, by the way, Jalen, was Roberto.
Invoke a
I think that was his name.
Yes, I
I
think
read
so.
accounts of the slaughter from many journalists who spent time in the trenches.
You're returning to the cathedral
Found
again,
the account of
where you had that awesome boss fight.
His implication about the ancients' involvement with the war was hideous.
What a
and
boss
so
fight.
obvious.
In search of answers, we
Thank you,
send
Alexa
forth a
Dolan.
vampire to the western reaches.
Van Glass, for joining the ranks of the undead. We really appreciate
Awesome.
that.
His latest story.
Thank you so much. All right.
Task brought
To
him
Do you
answer-
have? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Wyvern Tamer had a question in the chat. I only died once during that boss fight, because once was all it took. If you want to see the recap of that, our VODs are on our YouTube channel, so you can go watch through any of these live streams to catch up on anything you missed. It was great. That boss fight, very epic. Like I said, I only died once. Pretty easy after that, so you might want to check that out. Have you ever played Eternal Darkness, Connor?
I have not. As a matter of fact, I think it's the only one of Dennis's games that I haven't played.
The only
You should
one.
try it.
Mm-hmm.
I have at some point, without realizing it, played every single one except this one, and this
wow.
is. I keep hearing about this game in all of my circles. It's just like I can't look at a horror game top 10 list without seeing this game somewhere on there. I've always been intrigued, but I've never been able to get a hold of it.
It is hard to get hold of, and the price of it I've seen has actually gone up over time. For whatever reason, it's people love Eternal Darkness, and I think it's very different from the standpoint of that we really do break the fourth wall. And if you get a chance to play it, definitely try to get a GameCube if you can, because as you can see, emulators glitch out like this, like the fade outs don't quite work, and
I still have a hold of my Wii and my GameCube. I'm ready.
Hey, there you go.
Nice. Yeah, if you play in your basement, when the lights are all out, like you have now, you're in for a treat. I think that there's some things that don't quite work because things have changed. This is obviously 20 years old. We do things and we play with the volume, but we have all these various sanity effects that they still creep me out, and I made them all with the team, of course. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting experience, and there really hasn't been anything like it since. So, and that's when we started. I'm now going to go on my tangent. When we started creating Dead House Sonata, when we formed Apocalypse, I really we looked at what kind of game should we make, and the idea is to bring back the type of voice that you see in Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, or Eternal Darkness. Those types of games don't seem to be made anymore these days, and it's time that they come back. Now the world is dominated by online games, so online free-to-play accounts for 90% of all global gaming revenue. So it's crazy, but just think about that. Free-to-play games are almost everything now. So the idea is, if that's going to be the case, why fight the marketplace? Why not create a narrative-driven game that's within that marketplace? So that's what we're trying to do with Dead House. And I know a lot of people get frustrated saying it's free to play. It's if it's multiplayer or anything like that, it's never going to have a good narrative. That's what we're working to change. And I hope people see that as we roll more things out, that we're completely committed to doing awesome narrative in Dead House Sonata. So
awesome. I look forward to it. And speaking of, we have a question from Livin from the Discord. Just saw Memento Mori. We're going to be facing giants in Alpha?
Well, that would be telling. There are giants in the game, and there is a Giga House. There's an entire house. So the idea and concept of Dead House Sonata is the following. We're launching with Dead House, and within Dead House, you're going to be playing you're going to be playing within the House of the Dead, and where you can play for now 7 classes, and we'll be releasing more classes as we go. But revenants, ghouls, liches, vampires, wraiths, wights, banshees, and once we get to the point where we feel we'll have a complete narrative that will take at least a year to complete. And once we're satisfied with that, we're going to start to introduce new houses, and Giga House will be one of those houses, and that's the House of the Giants. And when that happens, you will be able to play the Giants, have fully playable races, all new content and storylines associated with them that you can see from either perspective, either from Dead House or from Giga House. And so not only theoretically will you be fighting them, you will be playing them as well. And we do eventually plan to introduce asymmetrical PvP. So imagine the House of the Giants fighting the House of the Dead.
Sort of like you become the raid boss if you're from Giga House.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's going to be some pretty interesting stuff, some things that we haven't really seen before, and we're not claiming that we're experts in this field, because obviously some of this is undiscovered country. But we're excited just to be discovering it and trying to do the best we can, working with the community to make the game the best it can be.
It will be quite epic, though. I can't just imagining the PvP, the big giants versus the undead. Hordes and hordes of them.
That's going to be cool.
I'm excited.
Cool. Can't wait.
Gun.
For the first time, I'm actually excited to find the book of or the Tomb of Eternal Darkness tome, because I know that here it is finally. Because I saw there's magic spots, and for the first time, I'm like, okay, I need my spells. Give me the book. The book has never been a good thing for these people normally, but now I want it. Yes.
You know, it's funny. People wanted to know some of the references we used last time from last stream, and I mentioned the Sword and the Sorcerer. And I know it's a B movie at best. I think people were making fun of us. But you have to understand what the inspiration was. You can get good inspiration from very bad things. And I think that, overall, hopefully that once we really get going with Dead House, people will see that all contributions can come up with some really great things, and community-driven content, I think, is so strong for the future. And I know we'll talk about this before the stream is over, but community interaction and community-driven content, we are so committed to, and is one of the major pillars of the project. And I cannot wait to work with everyone who's here in the stream and others as our community grows to make Dead House Sonata the best it can be. So
awesome. We've got another question from Nightfall Alicorn on Twitch. How is the dialogue going to work? I mean, I like, even though I like the Shakespearean writing, I'm not confident to speak it well.
I'm not confident to speak it well. I'm not sure I understand the.
I think basically the feeling of the question is will a dialogue be easy to understand through its eloquence? I am assuming that's what the feeling of the question is.
Right. Okay. That right. I was trying to understand the spirit of where he's sort of going with it too. So let me try to answer that. And it's going to get into, we're going to go into a big can of worms here, which I enjoy. When I tend to write story and dialogue, bluntly or frankly, I tend to leave no prisoners. I really hate dialogue that's overly expositional and explains things to people. So you're going to find, if you look at the Necro Libriatus on our website, where we talk about, where I have a short story that's called Sonata of Justice, that is in the form, Allegro sonata form, which is a musical composition form for sonatas, and at the same time talks about a pocket universe within Dead House Sonata. That's the kind of writing style that I personally like. Now, there's going to be a group of writers on this, and then on top of that, there's going to be a lot of voice actors, which I'm going to visit in a second. And the bottom line is, I don't want to be overly complex in the writing, and I think Memento Mori is a really good example of where the direction of the story is going to go. And in Memento Mori, there is some pretty deep hints of what's coming, particularly on the pillars, which I think Jalen hinted at in the latest responses to the contest. Mm-hmm. There's some neat stuff there, and there's some interesting poetry and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't want it to be flowery for flowery's sake, but I also don't want to handhold people. Will it be overly Shakespearean? I hope not. But what I loved about Shakespeare when he would write theater and scripts, or actually some people believe Shakespeare was the entire troupe, regardless of who or what the author was, what I really liked is he would write dirty jokes for everyone who was inebriated in the front rows, and then cerebral metaphors for the aristocracy in the balcony. So multi-layers of thought, and that is all brought to life by the actors, by the voice actors. And when you look at Memento Mori, we had two fantastic voice actors, had a very specific goal when we wanted to create that, and the George, who's doing the Revenant poet, the whole idea of that character is he's a revenant, an undead creature, driven by hatred, and he's a warrior poet at the same time. So he is very eloquent. And then you have, obviously the vampire very Cain-like, which is somewhat aristocratic. And each of the different characters that you're going to see in Dead House Sonata are definitely going to have their own personalities, and they're all going to be very different. And that is both through a combination of writing. What I really like to do is write dialogue and then sit down with the voice actors and say, what do you think? Do you like the way this is going? And get their personal takes on it. Because in the end, people voicing these characters become these characters. So any input that they can bring into the actual character itself, I will embrace. And then it becomes a combination of what we create as a team and then the talent of the actor. And that's where I like to take it. And so I know, Mr. Distortion Devil, that you are a voice actor, correct?
That is correct, yes.
We would love to have you do voice acting for Dead House Sonata. Would that be something you're interested in?
I have wanted nothing else for so long. The Legacy of Kain series is what got me into voice acting, so I would be most delighted.
Okay, so we're going to make this happen, and what we're going to do is I can't talk about the details yet because they're public, but we'll get a confidentiality agreement, NDA and all in place and stuff. But we have an upcoming sprint where it's going to be very, very heavily narrative driven. Would love to get you on board to do some of the voice acting for that, to work with Jack and myself and come up with this narrative, then we're combining all kinds of things. We'll be combining procedural generation, your input, and it will be all about dead Gothic material. And your character and your preferences will come out in this. And dude, it would be amazing if you're interested in this, because I would love it. I would love it personally. I
am so totally on board with this. I'm very excited.
All right, so we're doing it. So I will contact George, and we'll figure this out over the next few weeks. But this is happening, so we'll make this happen. And
wonderful.
Oh, it'll be so cool. And I've been around the games industry for a super long time, and when we did Blood and Wind Legacy of Kain was the first time people actually used professional voice actors. And back in the day before that, the people who did the voice acting were the developers on the game. So you had programmers and game designers, which, by the way, are very talented people, but are not particularly good voice actors. And you need people who have the tenor and the talent for that. And I believe by working with people who love the concept and love the content, you will bring in that the love that you feel for the things that you're doing comes out in the work that you provide. And I think that we can not only, sort of put our toes in the water with the voice acting, but we want to blow it out, where we want to create tools where someone like yourself can write scripts, do a whole adventure, and actually monetize it and sell it within our system, so you can create content with us that goes well beyond anything that you've ever seen in games before. That's what we want to do with Dead House Synopsis. So.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, hope there isn't too much pressure to spring this on you on stream.
No, not at all.
Yep.
I'm so very excited.
Does the stream then flip formats? Instead of you interviewing Dennis about Dead House Sonata, this is now your job interview? And we'll just start asking you a bunch of questions?
I mean, we have a few more questions from the chat.
That's true. Those are much more important.
We could get those out of the way first, but yes, I would be open to anything.
Awesome.
From their food, plan to do anything with subclasses. I'm assuming this means like you can choose your class, like vampire or white or lich or something like that. But could there be like a subsection of vampire, like Dhampir? I'm assuming is what they mean by this question.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and the answer is yes. And you could call them specialties or subclasses, or I guess levels of expertise. Whether you want to become like more like a Nosferatu vampire, more of a physical vampire, more of a sort of a magical-based vampire. All the right lore and associated specialties that give you specializations and set you apart from just the standard run-of-the-mill vampire. Yeah, absolutely. For all the classes. So we plan on generally having 3 subclasses for each class, so you can specialize in directions that you feel you want to play. That's sort of our first pass at it, and that's where we want to go. So 3 subclasses. Yeah, so I guess that makes 21. That's 21 classes over, if you count the subclasses, 21 classes overall.
Very interesting. I can't wait to explore those.
Gives the player lots of choices.
And we've got another question from Elvion. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah.
The Revenant is driven by rage and vengeance. The Lich is driven by the urge for knowledge and truth, and vampires seem to be driven by a thirst for power. Will there be a class that is driven by a need to protect others?
That's tough. Yeah, and so each class has their own thing, and the only class that could possibly come close to that is the Banshee, who is mourning for a lost lover. But banshees are kind of vicious. So, will there be classes in the future that cover that? Probably. Will it be within the realm of the dead or the House of the Dead? Maybe not within the first 7 classes. Maybe within the specialties within the 21. It is possible. It is possible. I'll tell you what. For deep dives into this, one of the things that we're going to be doing as we start releasing the classes and the sub-archetypes for all these classes, we'll be looking for feedback. All input is welcome. There are no bad suggestions. Anything that we can do to make the game better, we will do. And I say this with complete sincerity. There's no pride in authorship on what we're doing, because we truly believe that the secret of success for Dead House Sonata, and frankly any game, is working with the community. So the more that we can work with the community and get feedback and take good suggestions and implement them in ways that the community will like, we will try. So yeah, so I'll leave it at that. There you go. Best I can do on that answer.
Awesome.
Some of them are difficult to answer. I know it's tough to. You don't want to reveal too much.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
That was a super tough one.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who are just joining our Eternal Darkness live stream this week, we're currently having a contest. If you would like to win a free Risen Founders Pack to become a part of the second age of Dead House Sonata, all you have to do is type in Risen, R-I-S-E-N, into the chat to be entered for your chance to win. Saying Risen more than once does not increase your chances of winning, so you just have to enter it once, and we'll be drawing at the end of the stream at 5 o'clock to declare the winner.
I just typed in Risen, but make sure I don't win.
Well, your TV just turned off.
I know, weird. Weird. My monitor turned off, but it looked like a old CRT. It's so strange.
Oh, that's odd. So strange. Yeah, that's so insane, dude.
Very interesting effect. Like, I feel like
speaking
I'm
of
crazy over here.
Speaking of insane, I actually had my own question. Were there any challenges with implementing these sanity effects?
Oh yeah, well, quite a few actually. So technically, there were some, but they were less. Technically, that was the easiest thing to overcome. What we did is, a lot of people may not know this, but at the time, I was working with Dr. John Mitterer, who's a psychologist, and we actually did focus testing where we tested all these things out to get direction for about 6 months to a year on the title to see what worked and what didn't. And so that was very difficult. The other thing, but it turned out well, and we found out what worked and what didn't, and we really catered our sanity effects towards those kind of things. And it came down to the simple things that just creep people out, like the knocks on the door, the save game bug, the save game sanity effect, where it's deleting all your save games. That was precious.
I'm waiting.
It has less impact. Yeah, it's less impact now because everyone's used to auto saving, but back then saving your game was so important. And if you lost your save game, people would scream. But the most difficult thing about the sanity effects was getting them approved through Nintendo. And to be clear, it wasn't that they were overly conservative. It was that everything that they did was consumer focused. And the question that came up was, okay, Dennis, this stuff is really cool. So for this deleting your save game, if I'm playing this and I think this is real, which I would, this is Mr. Miyamoto telling me this, and I get really angry and I throw my new wireless controller against the wall and break it, is Nintendo responsible for that? And I remember sitting back and I'm like, wow, how am I going to answer? This is a tough question. Because they were very big on consumer support. They really want their consoles to be considered of the highest quality in manufacturing, and they don't want to be considered cheap toys at any level. And I remember my answer being, well, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know one thing. If that truly happened, it would be an experience you would remember for the rest of your life. And luckily that was the right answer, because I actually convinced Mr. Iwata and Mr. Miyamoto to go forward with these, because there was truly a lot of discussion on, is it even ethical to do some of these sanity effects? Because it's really going to piss a lot of players off. And the whole idea is that, yeah, it will piss people off for the first 5 seconds, but once they get that it was all an illusion, it will be an experience that they will remember, and that's what's important about video games. That sold the day, and that allowed us to get all these in. It was a tough call. We almost didn't get any of them in, and this is we went through a lot of work on these, and it was, it was touch and go, but Nintendo was brave enough to move forward with it. They're a great publisher and a great developer, and it was really. Overall, still to this day, just a privilege to work with those guys. They were just amazing, and they still are amazing, of course.
You're really
absolutely.
Right.
This game sort of pioneered the insanity sort of concept of losing your sanity and having these things. Like, I know there are games like Amnesia or Call of Cthulhu that will have different things happen if you lose your sanity. And I've played a lot of those games, and there are some pretty cool things, but I don't think anything becomes quite as real as the things in this game does, because it's supposed to mess with your perception of you playing the game. It makes you feel insane.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and a couple things on that. The first was the inspiration for this was people saying, that was back in the day when there was a lot of political movements to shut down video games, because the whole concept of video games make people violent. And despite the fact that there was no evidence whatsoever in any kind of study that this was true, there was a big political movement to start censoring games. And that made me so angry. My response to it was, well, if people truly think that video games are messing with people's heads, let's do it. We already have this Lovecraftian game that, Lovecraft is synonymous with sanity. Let's really try to play with people. And so that, it's funny what the inspirations are for these kind of things. And, in the end, the whole idea of creating this game when we first started it, the story behind it was we were pitching an entirely different product, and I had stayed up all night for 3 nights in a row playing Resident Evil 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And I had gone to Nintendo to start pitching this title that we were working on that I can't talk about because it's never been made public. But the producer at the time, his name was Henry, he looked at me and goes, dude, it looks like you haven't slept for 3 days. You look like shit. What are you doing? You're about to pitch everybody. And I'm like, I know, I've been playing Resident Evil. I love that game. And he looked at me and goes, I know, isn't it awesome? And he looked at me and goes, wouldn't it be awesome to make a game like that? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, but we can't. No one at Nintendo will want to make a Resident Evil ripoff. And I was like, I agree. So let's do something different. Instead of a survival horror, let's make a psychological horror. Let's do something that plays with people's minds and head. And that's the whole idea of a psychological horror was born within that period of pitching an entirely different game. I went home, came back a week later, and did a bunch of design documents, said, let's do a game like this. Instead of having 1 or 2 players, let's have 12 players playing over 2,000 years against an enemy that's immortal, that seems undefeatable, and that the entire universe is under this threat of eternal darkness. And we got the green light. So that's how all that happened. So it's a combination of those 2 things that I think really, other things, of course, too, that really helped make Eternal Darkness special.
Mm-hmm. I know my friend Monty Glue, who just hosted the stream, by the way. She would appreciate this 100%. She hears Resident Evil 2. Oh, she loves that game.
It's a fantastic game. And what inspired me so much about Resident Evil 2, I remember I played the first one, I liked the first one, but the second one, where you took the perspective of the different player, depending on the choices you made, you played through one character, then you played the other, and you saw the same game through a different perspective. That blew me away. And at that point, I was like, what a very interesting concept. And why isn't this done more in games? So we tried to take it to the next level and do it with 12 characters with the whole idea. Now this is another layering of me loving content and world building. Take a Babylon 5 approach to it, where the world is really the focus of the design, not a specific character, but the world itself. So we have 12 characters, but really the universe of Eternal Darkness, the ancients, and all the things that we're doing within this Lovecraft universe is the real focus. And that's really what made Eternal Darkness what it is. So yeah, absolutely. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and Resident Evil 2 was a massive inspiration for me, and still to this day, one of my favorite games of all time.
Awesome. We had another question from Elvion when we were talking about Sanity. Speaking of Sanity, have you played Hellblade? If you have, what do you think of it? Also, save, please.
Thank you.
Save.
I'm being told.
Perfect.
Hellblade, I have seen but not played. I've heard very good things about that game. But if people are saying in the chat it's worth playing and checking out, I definitely will. So it's on my queue now.
After what Ninja Theory did to Devil May Cry, I avoided it a little bit, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Devil May Cry fan, and I do agree with you on that, but I've heard that is their best game by far, right? So
Hellblade, yes, absolutely. And there's the sequel coming out soon, I believe, or in development, and although I don't know how far that progressed.
And they were using music that I love, and that has throat singing in it. Again, where we were talking about throat singing earlier with Steve Kupani and stuff, and I think it's based off of sort of Norse folklore. Some of the music in that latest trailer, it's pretty awesome stuff, and that band is amazing. I listen to them all the time, and I remember sending it around to the Deadhouse group before that trailer was ever released, and when I saw the trailer, it's like, oh yeah, this is a good direction. So
just to respond to some of the people in the chat, you're right, Calypso, that is my OBS that's causing the issues. I have to fix the levels on this after the stream for the following sound effects. Those will be fixed.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What's going on?
They're just a little too loud, and if I go back over to OBS, it's going to mess up a bunch of more stuff with while we're live on stream anyways.
Sorry about that. Don't forget to type Risen in the chat if you want that free pack. Go ahead, Jalen. Go do your thing.
For those of you that don't know, we're giving away a free Risen Founders Pack on stream tonight. If you type the word Risen, R-I-S-E-N, into the chat, you'll be entered for your chance to win. We'll do the draw at the end of the stream, and typing in Risen more than once will not increase your chances of winning. You only get entered once, so Dennis, I think this is the third time you've entered it. I'm just giving you a warning that spamming doesn't work.
I am pre-disqualifying myself. I do not need a Risen pack.
Perfect, all right. Just making sure. It wouldn't be the first time. I think yesterday when we were testing the program for the contest, Ian and myself were entering into the chat, and Golden Zan has a screenshot of us saying we're giving away something to ourselves, that we've won our own contest. Thought it was pretty funny.
That would be a loss. We would never do that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And thank you, Pantor.
As video game developers, we work for everyone here, so
for the people, by the people, for sure.
Yep.
I found a door handle, but I'm not too sure where it's supposed to go.
Yes, I would want to play the game. I, of course, would want to play the game. I will play the game, but I just don't think it's fair to be giving away Founders Packs and win it myself when I'm making the game. So that's...
You are the founder.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't need packs. He's already founded it.
I'm all in on Deadhouse.
Let's see. Where does this door handle go?
So someone in my own personal Discord actually had a question.
Sure.
I think I might know the answer to this already. What sicko had the idea of feigning Eternal Darkness, deleting your save, and did he get a raise?
That was me.
Yeah, you're talking to him. Did you give yourself a raise, Dennis, for that one?
No, but finishing and creating Eternal Darkness was reward in itself. I have to admit that even to this day, seeing that sanity effect makes me giggle because it leaves such an impression on the gamer. And like I said, back then, a save game file was much more important. And Jalen, you're always being told to save your game now, just because you didn't grow up in the era where there's no autosaves and saving your game was very precious.
Oh yeah,
and,
I'm super used to it now, not having to think about it.
Yeah, and if that little save stick got corrupted, that would destroy potentially years of work that you were using that stick for playing and saving your progress on various games. So that was quite, it would put people into epileptic seizures. So yeah, it's pretty great. So yeah, that was actually, I was trying to, anger can be an energy. Like I said, speaking with and working with the people on violence and video game communities and seeing where all that was going, really did make me angry. Look at you, excellent.
Slowly but surely. Pick this up right now.
And I don't know if people see the consistency here, but once again, in Eternal Darkness, you're controlling creatures, just like you did in Legacy of Kain, where you could possess them and control all the enemies in the game. We also had parts of that in Eternal Darkness as well. I always like to carry things over, so if you're looking at seeing consistencies with Dead House Sonata, you'll see it from both Eternal Darkness, Legacy of Kain, obviously, Too Human, and other games. So, Metal Gear, all that stuff.
I think I've messed up though now. I didn't actually move the body, and I don't have enough mana to summon another trapper.
Walk around in a circle. Your mana will go up.
Oh, alright.
There you go.
Developer strats.
I will let you exploit a problem with the game that really bothered me. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can see why that you didn't want.
I had a whole other system, but we didn't have time to do it. What's your magic at now? Yeah, see, it goes up. Super good.
Interesting. That's very good to know. Your little own Konami code, your little trick to get around some stuff.
That's right.
I will try this again.
You definitely want to pick up. You want to trap that guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So if I target him and then do it, that'll.
Yeah. You want to hit your fire button, I think.
Okay. There.
And you'll teleport him out of the area, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. See.
I had done the trapper thing, but I guess I wasn't targeting him, so it didn't work.
So now you can open the door. There you go.
Power? Ooh.
There's your 7 points. Spells.
Ooh.
Now you're on fire.
Answers. We thank you for the Western regions.
Ooh, that's a difficult one. But thank you so much for following us and joining the ranks of the Undead. We really appreciate that.
Woo!
Hope your ears are blown out there, chat, from the follow sound effects. That will be fixed for next time.
I guess that's really loud. I've got mine muted. Excellent. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Welcome aboard.
Mm-hmm. Can't be that bad if you guys keep following. If the sound was that bad, you wouldn't do it.
Hey! What's up, Mike? Yeah, Midnight as well. I know those guys.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it.
So, let's see. Got the 7 points now. Which means I should be able to do this. Oh, what is the Dispel Magic? Nethek, Regmore. See if this works. Nethek, Regmore, and then just power? Yeah.
Yep.
Now
Power,
we're
power,
getting
power, power. Pargon, 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 Pargon.
it. Phenomenal cosmic.
Park Champ.
That's a good one. Oh, where is? Okay, there we go.
We've got another question from Jofiel. With Dead House Sonata being free to play, what is the general plan for the gameplay loop / grind to keep people active on the game?
That's a really good question, and so let me. Generally, the way free-to-play games, and this is not a surprise, but most free-to-play games to date have all focused on gameplay as the, I guess, foundation upon which they're going to bring replayability. And with Dead House Sonata, we'll definitely have that stuff. So will there be more levels and more loot and leveling up and finding rarities and all of that kind of stuff? Yes, for sure. However, I think if we're going to do this right, the whole idea of making something special, when you go on an adventure, you want to hear a new story. And our goal is to entertain people and tell them expose them to extreme amounts of story and content and lore in a world that is so big and constantly evolving that you really truly never can explore it all. So we want to keep people coming back with the traditional loot grinding, of course, but we want to do something different. And the way I would describe it is we want to release content modules that you don't have to pay for. To be clear, this will never be pay to play. This will always be free, will always be ethical, but we'll continually create and open new environments where the narrative and the development of the story will be an experience in itself. And I always look at games like Warframe and Path of Exile, which I truly love. I think they're amazing games, and this is not a criticism of them at all, but they focus on gameplay for iteration and bringing people back. What if we were to take narrative as a potential for that? You know, obviously graphics and exploring new areas, but really focusing on the narrative is where we want to go with it. So we want to keep people coming back with story and emergent storytelling. So not only is story going to be what we hope is going to be one of the big draws, but the whole idea of people contributing to this, making it a living, breathing world. If you're a vampire, you go through and you clean out a town, you name a town, you found a city, and you kill everyone in it, and they become all vampire thralls. The next person who comes to that area finds out, who is this vampire who did all this stuff? Why did he do this? That would be, I think, very interesting. That would be a very interesting experience. Now, of course, we have to put guardrails on all these things, but that's what I would say. So let's do the gameplay stuff, but let's also do the narrative. That's going to be where we want to take it. I hope that's an answer that everyone likes, because that's where we're going.
I'm excited. Generally, what keeps me coming back to not necessarily the game itself, because I can't stand MMOs and the way they play, but what keeps me coming back to explore World of Warcraft is the updates to the story. It's like, oh, this character from like 10 years ago just showed up again. It's just like, what? Mind-blowing stuff. And I agree that a continuing narrative will keep people wanting to come back, because it's exciting to see new developments in a world.
That's what we're going to focus on with Dead House. I hope that's clear. Like we've already, as an example, even put on our website with the Necro Libriatus, put up more. Generally, traditionally, every game I've released, we don't release or talk about the story at all until the game is launched. And what we're going to be doing now is we're going to launch a first stage where we're going to be, and if you look at the Necro Libriatus, we already have a huge number of hints on where the story's going with all the different houses. And we'll continue to, it is my goal that we have, what's the right way to describe it? A powerhouse of content, really just being the main central focus of the game. And to be clear, we know we can't do this on our own. This is why I'm going back to the community-generated content. We will look to work with the community, very much like CP, on allowing people to contribute to the content and monetize that content, where we all become creators and we create this experience that's second to none. Not AAA, billions of dollars and 100,000 people working on this game for 10 years. We will take small steps. We will work with the community and put stuff in there that's good and that creates something that people want to play themselves. And that's where we really want to focus on. And that's, I guess, my love for the industry, really where I want to take it with Dead House Sonata, and where I embrace the community and want to take the community along with us. And so much so, like, Connor, when we talk about you doing voice acting, about even going beyond that and actually contributing to the content and story, how far can we take this, and let's see where this goes, because for me that's truly exciting, and that'd be the kind of game that I would want to play, you know?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I've been quiet this whole time. There's a horror in this other room, and chat's giving me lots of helpful hints. I really appreciate it.
It's a perfect time to announce the contest again.
Yes, it is, actually. Now that I've paused for a little bit here, in about 10 minutes, we're going to be doing a draw for a free Risen Founders Pack. So if you haven't purchased a Founders Pack already, and you're just joining us, you can type the word Risen, R-I-S-E-N, just as Dennis Dyack has done, to be entered for your chance to win a free pack for access to the second age of Dead House Sonata. Entering Risen in more than once does not increase your chances of winning, so you don't have to spam it, but we'll make sure that your name is entered, and we'll announce that shortly. Bankarok and Santak, I need to remember.
Now I'm trolling. I'm trolling our own stream.
Well, as long as it's you, not somebody else. You're allowed to troll our stream, Dennis. Nobody else is.
Get that free pack, everybody. The more we can grow the community, the better it is for us all. And we are looking forward to working with everyone in the future on Dead House Sonata. So please participate. We'd love to have you on board.
Okay, let's see. I didn't notice until now, as you collect the more powerful spells, even the chanting in the background becomes much clearer. Like the woman says Pargon more and more once you have added the Pargon spells.
And the spells take longer to cast, and you're more vulnerable. So the more powerful the spell, the more vulnerable you are.
Which makes sense, I think.
Yeah, that system was all based off of some neural network stuff I was working on for voice recognition, where I had to break sentences down into phonemes for the neural net to actually recognize speech. So after HOT coming off, that was for my master's thesis, for those who are probably bored by now, but my background is actually neural networks and artificial intelligence. And I was working on this stuff, and at the same time, I think I just finished my thesis by this time, and I was like, hey, why don't we do a natural language system for spells? And so actually, believe it or not, the creation of these spells and the actual drawing of them, I all did in Microsoft Word with their crappy drawing tools at the time. And I put all this stuff together and actually named everything and put the language together in that crazy couple nights where we stayed up all night. And I flew back to Seattle and pitched Eternal Darkness after being inspired from Resident Evil 2.
Please. Sorry, guys. Focusing real hard, real quick. Where's that third head? Give me the third head. There, okay. Whew. All right, where were we? I can talk now. Calypso's asked for a copy of your thesis study there, Dennis. Is there anywhere they'd be able to find that?
In the University of Guelph. Yes, it's there. It is there. And I created an intelligent agent for Fantasy Empires, which was our second game back in the days of Silicon Knights. Now, the thesis was actually published while I was working on Legacy of Kain. So and then I didn't really utilize a lot of that knowledge until Eternal Darkness. But yeah, funny how time passes. Yeah, University of Guelph. It is in the library. It's there. I don't think it's online because I'm too old for that.
Gotta get the physical copy from somewhere.
It's there. Yeah.
Need anything? You know what? I complain about running into trappers when I don't see them, but as soon as I need one, I can never find them. Give me some help. Come on.
I actually, I saw someone else in chat ask something that I'm pretty interested in as well, just because I like the idea of it. It's sort of implied that there are celestials or angelic beings. Would Seraph House or Angel House be something that would happen in the future, or be an entity?
If I was to create 9 houses, having angelic and seraphim-like things would definitely be one of the houses I would pick.
Absolutely. I like sort of the not humanoid depictions of angels, where they're sort of like gross and have a whole bunch of eyeballs around them, and they're surrounded by like yellow fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say the most inspirational stuff, and which I particularly like, is as an artist. He's created a website called Angelarium. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that stuff. Have you guys heard of that stuff at all?
I think we've talked about it in the studio before, Dennis, but I'm not sure if anyone else.
I think I've seen some of his work, or some of their work.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it in the chat. But this artist is amazing, and so here it is. I'm going into the chat now. Everyone, I'm gonna post it into the chat. Check out this website. My I guess computer Matt is based on this. He's amazing. So if people would want to know what kind of direction for the House of Angels, our Divinity house, that I would take things, this would be the direction, because this guy blown me away.
I like the depictions of angelic beings or celestials as humanoid, but barely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like there's something there, but they're not like Michael the Archangel, or like really pretty men or women, just straight up humans with wings. These are much more just like divine beings in my eyes.
Yeah.
Well, and they always
this artist
started.
is incredible.
They'd come down and
Yeah,
say,
I
have no fear, right? Because they weren't humanoid. They looked.
They're scary.
To be feared. Yeah. They had to tell people,
This
don't be
goes-
afraid of me. It's okay.
So this goes back to the story we were talking about before the stream, where I was talking about Ridley Scott's Prometheus, and he cut the whole idea of, Paradise Lost, which is the work, that talks about Dante's Inferno and all of that really interesting lore about the war in heaven. These kind of things are, to me, what really motivate me, and that's why with Angelarium or some of these other things with Prometheus, though Prometheus itself was very disappointing for me, the background lore of that was fantastic. And I really wish they would have been brave enough not to cut all of the stuff out with the engineers, who were based upon the Watchers from Angelic War and the War in Heaven. And we were talking, just to give everyone some background on all this stuff, we were talking about Memento Mori, and Jack and I, when we wrote the script for it, we had a pass, I would say, where we cut 70% of the script out. And we then both, Jack and I are big Alien fans, and we're reminiscing about Prometheus and how it had so much potential, but then didn't meet that potential in the final cut. And it turns out that it cut so much of the cool stuff out that it when it came to Memento Mori, and the whole idea, just to be clear, we have never seen a trailer with two different voiceover actors in it, where you go from one voice to another. We have the Revenant going to the Vampire, and a lot of people thought that wouldn't work. I didn't know if it was going to work, and we had cut it down so it was very edited and much more concise, probably half the size that it is now. And then after looking over all of the cut things from Prometheus and all the things that are very, I guess, Angelarium-like and very Paradise Lost-like, I sat down with Jack and I said, I don't think we should cut anything. Let's put the full script in. And that's what we ended up going with Memento Mori. And I think that's the direction we're going to go with the game. So, to be clear, I don't want us to have run-on dialogue or anything like that. There has to be certain, quality standards with editing. But at the end of the day, if it comes to cutting content, I think we're going to lean towards putting as much content as we can. We want to deliver the biggest world and something that's so deep that people feel satisfied with the game Dead House Sonata. We're already up against, most people think free-to-play and narrative-driven is an oxymoron. So we have to tackle that head-on, and we have to provide more content and blow people away. So that's why, Connor, I'm so excited that you want to join us in this crusade to change the way people think about free-to-play online and contribute to this awesome experiment, it's a crusade into changing and bringing content to the free-to-play space, because the free-to-play space is dominating all video games, and we have to change the way people think to make narrative-driven games survive in this, let's face it, desert of video games right now where there's almost no narratives. So we've got to change it. I'll stop there.
At that point, I think we might also bring this stream to a bit of a close. I just opened this door here with a binding key. And before we take a look at what's behind it, this is going to be your last chance, guys, to enter our contest. All you have to do is type in the word Risen into the chat for your chance to win a free Risen Founders Pack. That'll be access to the second age of Dead House Sonata, our community-driven world-building experience. So if you haven't already, type Risen into the chat, R-I-S-E-N. Typing it in multiple times does not improve your chance of winning. But we shall see. Enter this room. Oh, I regret this already.
Hey, I might have typed in Risen more than once. I'm not sure.
Well, that's all right. If Dennis wins, we'll make sure to give it to somebody else. I don't think he's been entered into the chat or the stream, the contest.
Connor, if I've been talking too much, I apologize. Is there anything you want to say today in the stream that you haven't said?
I mean, just it was so much fun being on here. It was an honor and a privilege to get to talk to you guys today, and just I'm so excited for the future of this product. I very much want to see it succeed.
Thank you. Oh, the honor was all ours. Thank you for joining us. You are incredible. We appreciate you joining the community and supporting us in the ways that you have, and we look forward to working with you in the future directly. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
Definitely. I can't wait either.
When we asked you to come on for the stream, were you expecting a job opportunity to come out of it?
No.
No. Well, glad we can surprise you then.
I was so excited.
All right. I believe we are just about ready to announce the winner of the contest. Just double checking with Scott and making sure everything's okay. Oh, Midnight KY. Whoops, sorry about that. The auto mod timed you out for spamming. We'll see if we can enter you back in there. That's why it only takes one entry to win.
Uh-oh.
Yep, Nightbot doing it automatically. Scott says you're good.
There you go.
You've still been entered. So
get Midnight in there.
Yeah, with that out of the way, I believe we can announce the winner of the contest.
Go for it.
I think Scott is typing in. Savage Oxygen, you've won the giveaway. Congratulations, Savage Oxygen, for winning the free Risen Founders Pack. If you go into our Discord and message Scott, his username is srook, he will have all the details for you, and we'll upgrade you on our website to give you the better flair, and so everyone can see you're a part of the second Age of Deadhouse Sonata.
Welcome to Deadhouse. We're looking forward to interacting with you.
Congratulations again, Savage Oxygen. Thank you guys so much for everybody who participated. We plan on doing a couple more contests like these on stream to give away some Founders Packs or other prizes that we can come up with. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned and keep checking back on Fridays to see the additional contests we run. Yeah, and I think that's about the end of the stream now. I've double-checked that I save. I found a magical attack scroll, which I know means something big is coming. You've given me an extra potion for mana and magical attacks. There's a boss fight somewhere around this room, so we will save that for next stream. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you, Connor, for coming on our stream. You have no idea how much we appreciate
Absolutely.
Thanks, Connor.
Yeah, and Dennis, thank you for coming out as well and answering all of our questions about Deadhouse Sonata.
Least we can do.
Thank you guys in the chat for coming out. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. If you're looking for more, you can join myself and Ian on Tuesdays, where we do our community roundtable streams, going over your suggestions for Deadhouse Sonata. That's Tuesdays, same channel at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on Reddit, and you can visit our website to find our forums and have your voice heard. While you're there, you can check out our Discord to become a part of our community, and you can see about purchasing a Founders Pack to become a part of our first stage. My name is Jalen Pachenik, your Community Herald. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and fight the living, everybody.
Fight the
Take care,
living.
everyone. Thank you.